What's up, my know-it-alls? Well, it's time for Strange New Worlds, Season 2, Episode 4, Among the Lotus Eaters. Now, you're going to clearly notice we're on the brand new set of the all-new Mr. Know-It-All show. There's still some soundproofing to happen, so I apologize for some of the sound issues, but I will get that corrected very soon. I will also say that I am very, very excited to be here, especially because I tell you what, this is all about you guys. But do me a favor, subscribe please below and like the video too. It helps the algorithm and lets other people know that you guys care about what Mr. Know-It-All has to say because, I mean, everybody loves a know-it-all. All right, guys, sit tight. Hang on, because here we go. Strange New Worlds, episode... What? Oh. What was I saying? Returning to a planet that dredges up tragic memories, Captain Pike and his landing party find themselves forgetting everything, including their own identities, as he confronts a ghost from his past. So the planet in question in this episode is a little fan favorite known as Rigel 7. Why does Rigel 7 matter? Well, one, Rigel something or other is always a planet in Star Trek. But no, the truth, and of course there was that Simpsons episode that mocks it because the aliens are apparently from Rigel 7, the numeral 7, not the Roman numeral 7. Anyway, if you go back in the crates, way back to TOS in the early days, you're going to find there's an episode of the original episodes of The Cage, later on the Menagerie Parts 1 and 2, that had the original Christopher Pike. One of the things they discuss was a particular incident that happened on Rigel 7, specifically an away team that he had, where he led the away team and they lost 3 crew members, including his personal yeoman, Zach. So what's really great is I love how Strange New Worlds continues to sprinkle in Star Trek lore and whatnot, and it makes it one of those things where you can really grab onto the essence of what the original series was, and what they've been doing is writing between the lines. It's like what we see with Spock, it's like what we've seen with Uhura. As we continue this moving forward, that's what they're doing. They're writing between the lines, and they're doing a brilliant job doing it. The episode actually starts with Pike and his girlfriend, Captain Batali of the Cayuga, and she is there, and they're trying to steal away for just a little bit and have some dinner. He's cooking for her, and she comments on some things, and as he goes in to give her a kiss, boom, Una chimes in needing approval for something, and he's like, all right, look, I'm incommunicado for the next at least 30 minutes. Same thing, they start to get a little bit close, and boom, the Cayuga calls over and says, hey, we want a course correction thing, whatever, and she's like, just give me time. Anyway, it's constantly this back and forth, and ultimately Pike comes to the conclusion, hey, you know what? This is really difficult for us to try to steal away minutes here and there. I think it'd be best if we kind of just took a break. And she is not happy about that decision. She backs off on it, and she's not happy at all. And even Una later is like, oh, well, you sabotage all the time, and you sell, you got to stop. He's like, I do that? And she's like, yeah, totally. So they get assigned a mission, or they're invited to a mission by Starfleet back to Rigel 7, and come to find out that the entire situation is Starfleet's way of being like, hey, as Pike so eloquently puts it, go clean up your own mess. We actually get to, they start assigning away missions, and we come back after the intro to Erica Ortegas, Mija, Prima. I love this woman. For real. Talk about not only is she an awesome pilot, she's one of my sisters. And by that I mean Latinas. Let's go. Anyways, and so she is excited to be going on an away mission. And so by the time she meets up with everybody, and she's got the cute little hat from the culture and whatnot, because they're going completely clean. They don't want to bring anything down with them. And Spock is like, there's some asteroid belt thing that's going on, probably from some old celestial bodies that crashed, whatever. And he's like, we're gonna need someone who's really, really an expert pilot to be able to pilot us through this. So immediately Ortegas is like, oh, you suck, because she clearly wanted to be on the away mission. So unfortunately, Spock's like, it's not my fault. Come on, man, what's going on with y'all? And so they go and the rest of them go, which is it's Pike, Mbenga, and La'an. And you've realized that the reason that Pike later on he chose Mbenga and La'an, he didn't choose Mbenga because he's a doctor, though that's probably a default. He chose them both because they both have excellent combat skills, which it's even Mbenga's a little insulted by. He's like, it's just what a doctor wants to hear, that he's being chosen for an away mission because of his combat skills. So what ends up happening is they go down to the planet, and as they arrive, they see they have to hike in like 20 kilometers because they want to make sure they fly in under some smoke debris and whatnot from a volcano or something or other, and they or some other reason, some other MacGuffin-y reason. And when they get down to the planet, they have to go, and as they arrive, they're able to see from far away that the locals are armed with phaser rifles. Now, what brought them there? Quick little note, because I know I missed this. What brought them there was they take pictures of species that have been messed with that should not have been. It's the equivalent of like a Hubble telescope or something. And so what happens is Pike sees, they show a delta symbol. Obviously, they must have left something behind. Their crew people did. It attracts the attention. That's why Starfleet's sending them back to clean up their own mess. Okay. When they get down there, again, the guards, the local Kalar, the species there is known as the Kalar. There's two different kinds of Kalar. There's the field Kalar and the palace Kalar. And you find out that the field Kalar are forgetting things due to the sound. Little by little, that's happening to the crew as well as the people on the planet. So there's a correlation between what's happening on the planet and on the thing. Very interesting. I'm there. As they're forgetting things, they're losing, first it starts by losing time. And so La'an begins losing some time. She's the first one to show it. Mbenga starts to show it, then Pike starts to experience it. But when they get down there, they get captured. It's that scene in the clip that you guys saw where Pike and them were watching, and they see that these locals have phase rifles, and they come over, and he's like, oh, I'm from the north, this and that. And they're like, oh yeah, we know who you are, Captain Pike. And he's like, oh, okay. And so when they pull in, as in when they take into the palace, you find out that the captain's personal yeoman, Zach, has become king. He's king of the Wicker people. No, I'm kidding. He's king of the Kalar. And he has his memories, and nobody knows why they have their memories other than the fact that so the field Kalar, so what he does is he's angry, of course, for being left behind or whatever, and Pike tries to tell him. But anyways, so they kick them out. They tell them, they send them to go work in the fields. Meanwhile, we cut back to the Enterprise, and in the Enterprise, you begin to get signs that people are starting to lose time. Specifically, it begins with Uhura. There was another clip that was released earlier this week, and it shows Uhura suddenly like, what's going on? And she can't remember anything. And so Ortegas volunteers to take her down to sickbay, make sure she gets there. And so when she gets there, you find out that, hey, maybe there's a whole lot of things happening, and it looks like it's not long. Like, you won't forget yourself. I mean, you'll forget who your name is, but the thing. Okay, how did they put it? Things you have that go deep, you keep. Things that you have to remember, you lose. By that I mean your name, who other people are. But like if you love something, and later, and you'll get a sense for that later on as the story progresses. When they go, and now that's right then is when Chapel gets notification that 6 more crew members are coming up. So it's happening, and it's happening. It seems like it's happening faster on the Enterprise. Wonder why? They actually give you the answer to that in just a little bit. So anyway, when you get back to the planet, Pike meets this local who's basically trying to explain to him, we have totems. This stuff takes away the reasons. We know things go deep. Love goes deep. Pike remembers that Batali had given him a gift at dinner. And it was this little seafaring captain's charm that's supposed to find their way home. And so he has that, and he knows there's something special. He knows it was a gift. And specifically, but he can't figure out what it is. Same thing. Mbenga, when later on, when La'an tries to fight somebody, she gets injured. Mbenga immediately jumps to trying to take care of her, and he realizes, I'm a healer of some kind. I'm a doctor. And so they're trying to figure it out what's going on. And eventually the guy tells him, he's like, look, because he believes in this totem concept, and he's like, we live in the moment. We live in the now. The now is all that matters, right here. And so he explains to him, if this is your now, if this is your moment, I'll help you. And so he helps them try to get back to the palace. Meanwhile, back up on the ship, it's getting worse. It's getting very bad. So Spock, in a very intelligent move, has begun giving everybody pads with their profiles on it until they forget how to read. So At this point, there's this, Erica's supposed to be flying them through and the whole bit, and she finally wakes up after one of those episodes, and she doesn't remember anything. I mean, obviously she remembers that she's like, what's going on? What is this? She stumbles into and it's this whole very chaotic asylum-y type, so like it's all tilted cameras and angles and whatnot. And she manages to get through the ship, and at one point she faces Chapel, who literally just looks at her blank and kind of walks off. They don't know each other. And so as she's speaking out loud, the computer, she's like, I thought I told you to bring me home, because she said home when she got into the thing. And she's like, your deck quarters are on blah, blah, blah. And she's like, well, where is that? And she's like, follow the lights, follow the colored lights. And you see the thing start to do the little colors. And so she follows and gets back to her quarters. Once in her quarters, she's outside her window, you see asteroids happening, and she's like, I don't know what to do, this and that. And she's like, I make it stop. And she's like, course corrections have to be made, this and that. And she's like, you're the one who has to make them. It's like, what? It's like, you are Erica Ortegas, pilot of the USS Enterprise. And she realizes who she is, at least in that moment, because if you remember early on in season 1, being a pilot that goes deep for Ortega. Very deep. So it's stuff she knows. And she immediately grabs onto that and is like, and she's running toward the halls, heading back to the bridge, and she's like, my name is Erica Ortegas, and I fly the ship. My name is Erica Ortegas, and I fly the ship. It's actually really cool. And so she gets up to the bridge. Eddie and Spock's like, do you know what you're doing? You know how to fly this thing? She's like, my name is Erica Ortegas, and I fly the ship. And she starts, it becomes, because it's one of those innate things in her. So she just starts doing it. And it's great. She's flying them through the meteor shower and the whole bit. Back on the planet, Pike wakes up from another blackout as they're in the middle of fighting with some of the soldiers from the guards. And Mbenga helps him. He gets a little clipped. He can't continue on. He says, listen, I'm going to stay here and guard the gate. You go inside and get our memories back. So there's a totem myth that says that the people inside the palace have a casket that keeps all everyone's memories, and that's why they can remember stuff while the people outside don't. And it's designed to help the people do the work. And even Pike's like, that sounds awfully weird, convenient that some people do all the work and other people don't. I don't know what's going on. And so what happens is, he goes in and he fights and encounters Zach again, doesn't remember him, and even Zach's like, I can't, and he beats him. And Zach's like, of course, why wouldn't you be the one, I kicked you out, I figured you'd wander around aimlessly and confused, but what ends up happening? No, you end up, you cause an insurrection or a revolution. And it's like, it's a true story, it's deep down inside Pike, that justice stuff, you know what I'm saying? And, because he's Starfleet all day. And so, he ends up telling, as Pike's getting angry and he's about to kill him, he's fine, and he tells him, he's like, your memory should be back any second. You've been inside longer. He explains what's going on. Zach does. A long time ago, a meteor hit the planet. The meteor causes the forgetting, is what they call this. It's a radiation that comes from it. The castle is made of an ore that shields against the radiation. So it isn't that people in the castle have some special power, it's that the building itself is shielding them from the forgetting. So Pike gets everybody back in, and he collects up all the stuff that Zach had and whatnot, and they end up returning. And Ortegas had already gotten them outside of the field. And what they do is they take the meteor that landed and they use a tractor beam, pull it out, and throw it back up into space to join the other asteroids. The idea being, hopefully, it'll stop the forgetting from happening. And so, yeah, it's there you go. Now you know. And if no one's half the battle, you're halfway to being a know-it-all yourself. So what's the know-it-all index rating for this episode? I liked it. It was fun. It was campy. It was, it referenced old Star Trek stuff. I'm going to give this episode a solid 8.5. I liked it. I thought it was great. It was a lot of fun. Is it the greatest episode of Strange New Worlds ever? No, but I enjoyed it. So yeah, man, comment below. Let me know what you thought of the episode. I would love to engage with you guys more on this. But yeah, man, I'm super excited for the new place. Now that I'm back, I'm finally going to get an opportunity to, you'll be seeing a promo in the next day or two for where you can purchase uniforms. If you really want to know right now, I believe it's knowitallnation.myshop. It's a Shopify store. And so, and you can get the uniforms that I have currently available. They are Space Explorer uniforms that do not infringe on copyrights of any kind. But no, yeah, man, but primarily I do it because I'm a big and tall guy. I'm 6'7", 300 plus pounds. I'm a big boy, and I can never find stuff. Most everything, the uniforms online stop at 3X. Well, so I'm working on doing some other stuff. I'm putting together some uniforms from the Picard season 3, and we'll see, as well as the ones I normally wear. But yeah, man, I really appreciate you guys so much for keeping up and joining and supporting the channel. Never forget, everyone loves to know it all.